Have you ever felt like you are your own worst enemy? That you are somehow keeping yourself from accomplishing your goals, the goals that you tell yourself you really want it to happen, but for some reason you're keeping yourself from doing it? Like, if you can imagine this, if you're trying to like climb a mountain, but you keep, you know, stepping over your own foot or you're tripping over your own foot, or if you're like trying to paint a canvas but you keep intentionally like messing it up with your brush, right? This is something that we call resistance. It's when you are right on the brink of thriving, you're right on the brink of a breakthrough, and something is sort of just like keeping you from doing it. Another word is self-sabotage, right? This is like a thing of self-sabotage. And this is what, when it shows up right when you're ready to get where you need to go. So let's talk about some of the symptoms and the cures, right? And some of the things that we can do to sort of spot it and make sure that we're not allowing it to keep us from our goals, from accomplishing the things that we want to accomplish. So the first thing to know is that you are always going to feel resistance when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, right? The things that you are comfortable with, that you know and are familiar with, those feel good. And sometimes they may not even be good situations, but it feels good because it's familiar. You know what to expect. You know how to deal with this. Your body, your environment, your finances, everything knows how to deal with this circumstance. And so we often get nervous, even unknowingly, when we are going into uncharted territories, things that we have not experienced before. So whether those are good things or bad things, they kind of show up the same, right? The same sort of resistance comes into play. We as humans, we're not wired necessarily to be happy, but we were wired to be safe, right? So that's why safety is our primal, innate thing that we're looking for. We're just looking to be safe at all times. And so oftentimes, for many of us, that keeps us from venturing out into things that we may not quite understand, things that might be a little bit risky, but things that we may envision for ourselves that we want to accomplish. So how do we sort of like overcome this space where we cannot get past this barrier? Oftentimes it's easier to know what you don't want versus having clarity on what you do want. But it's really important to have clarity on what you do want and to make sure that what you're actually going after is your desire and not what you think people might want you to desire, or what you think that society might expect for you to have at this point, or what you see other people having at this point, right, in their life. You want to make sure that your desires and your goals are yours and truly yours, coming from the place of your strengths and the things that will truly make you happy. And also, you are entitled to change your mind. So you could have wanted something in the past, and you can have gathered information and had experiences and realize that, hey, this is no longer the thing that I want. And that's okay. The only thing there is that you just have to be honest with yourself that the outdated vision that you have is no longer the vision that you have now. So you want to create a space that you can really sit down and think about what it is that you truly want and have that goal clear so that you know what you're actually working towards. And then you can start to break down, what does this look like? And if there is anything to be afraid of or fearful of, you can start to get comfortable with that so that you don't hold yourself back from going after those goals. Another problem that we typically have, or another symptom of this resistance self-sabotage cocktail that we do sometimes, is that we have an upper limit problem, right? So we have this vision of where we'd like to be in life and where we want to go in life, but we unconsciously have a limit on that. We have a cap on that. Like, even though we might shoot for the stars, mentally we have a cap that this is about how far we can go. And so when we have that upper limit problem, once we get to that place, we're going to do something that's going to get us back to a level of comfortability, right? We're going to get to that upper limit and be constantly coming back to a level of comfortability. I know I have experienced that in my life. I've had the opportunity to have, in my vision, successes that I envisioned for myself, things that I wanted to have, I wanted to do, I wanted to experience. And when I've gotten there, unconsciously, I've done things to get myself off of that high, off of that level. Sometimes it has been situations where I'm like, okay, I accomplished that, I'm finished, right? That's okay too. But we want to make sure that that's the thing versus just keeping yourself from getting to that next level, from shattering that glass ceiling of whatever sort it is, to allow yourself to get to a higher level. Now, how do we do this? In order to do this, we need to take our time. Be patient with your growth. Be patient with going to higher levels, expanding, taking on more. We don't want to do things in haste. So that's one of the things that I recognize for me in the past, is that I often would like things to happen yesterday. So I would do things in haste. And so when you realize that you have moved too fast, then you want to sort of dial it back. But to avoid that, you want to take your time with expanding. You want to take your time with going to new levels. You want to take your time with experiencing new things, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. There's no reason to thrust yourself. Sometimes it happens, if you're at a job or if you get a client that is challenging you to go to a new level. Those things do happen, right? And that might mean that you are ready for that. But when you are in control of the expansion, you want to make sure that you're taking your time to expand so that you can get comfortable with your new levels and you can build on that. So basically, it's baby steps. The third symptom of resistance self-sabotage cocktail is jumping from thing to thing. So you're jumping from one project or one goal to another. You're starting things, but you're not allowing these goals, these projects to fully develop. You haven't allowed enough evidence to see as to whether it works or doesn't work, and you decide that you're just going to jump to another thing. Now, are there times that you can gather enough information to realize, okay, this is not necessarily what I wanted to do, or this is not the route that I want to go, I'm going to pivot here? Yes, you can certainly do that. But if you find that there is a pattern, then you might be keeping yourself from becoming fully developed in any particular area and kind of constantly starting over. And I think this ties into the upper limit problem, because if you're constantly starting over, then now you come down from that height, right, of that fully developed and fully going to a new level or a new limit for yourself. So you want to ask yourself, why am I starting over? Am I fearful? Is there some sort of fear that is keeping me from, going to a fully developed idea or goal? Or did I gather enough information to say, okay, I'm done with this? The next symptom is diverting attention away from your real problems, right? So because you are experiencing discomfort, in one particular area, or you want to, basically you're procrastinating from it, right? You're diverting your attention to something that may not be that important, that's not crucial, it's not the main thing, but you're focusing your attention on that just so you don't have to actually pursue and progress in the thing that you really were supposed to be doing. So when you see this happening to you, you want to make sure that you are asking yourself, okay, what is the main thing? What is going to actually move the needle? What is actually going to roll the ball towards, the goal, right? That's what you need to be focusing on. If the other thing is necessary, then you want to make sure that you're prioritizing so that you're not losing sight of the main thing, so that you're still progressing and moving forward, and you can still get to all the things that you need to do. The other thing that was pulling your attention, right? Prioritizing will help you with that, but make sure you're being honest with yourself as to why you are distracted, or the fact that you are distracted. The next symptom is perfectionism. So perfectionism is where you are constantly putting unrealistic standards, right? Your standards and your bar, your measure, is so unrealistic that it can make you feel paralyzed, where you don't do anything because you are fearing failure. Now, understand that we all are going to fail at certain things. We're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to make mistakes. But the idea is to learn from these mistakes and not let perfectionism get you stuck. Have you ever heard of the term done is better than perfect? So it's better to be done. It's better to have a minimum viable product, the minimum thing that you can have in a complete form is better than not starting at all, or not starting because of all the things that you don't have, right? Just get it done, right? And then you can learn from the mistakes. You can improve on and build on all of the things that you have put as a foundation. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to start, right? And you may not ever get it perfect, but you can continue to improve once you begin. Another symptom of our self-sabotage can be judging others. So I forgot to mention that I got all of these tips from the book, The Mountain is You, right? And so The Mountain is You basically talks about you being in the way of your own success, right? And when it got to this part about judging others, there's something that I kind of admittedly deal with, and I always try to avoid or overcome, being a judgmental person. That's one of my struggles. So with reading this, it was basically saying that, when you are judging others, right, you are setting that negative connotation to whatever that person's success is. So let's say it's financial. Let's say this person is really rich or whatever the case is, or really successful in the thing that you want to be successful in, but you are judging them. So you're putting like a negative spin on their status and a negative spin on where essentially they are in life. But if that's a goal of yours and that's something that you want, then you're unconsciously telling yourself that that's bad. And so you're keeping yourself from reaching that goal because you're now associating bad or, whatever that judgmental thing is, you're associating it with it. So that's keeping you from reaching your goal by judging others. So it's something that we want to be mindful of and want to make sure that we're not perpetuating, because it's going to keep you from your success. So one thing you want to do to practice non-judgment is always think about piggybacking a negative thought, like a judgmental thought, with a positive one. So if you're, saying like, oh, can't believe this person is like flaunting their success or whatever the case is, you can piggyback that with a congratulatory statement. Like, I'm really proud of this person. I'm really happy that they accomplished what they were going to accomplish. I love that they're, trailblazing. I love that they're setting a new path for others to come behind them. I love that they're doing things in a new way. I'd love to find a new way for me to do the things that I am desiring. But, basically putting a positive spin on whatever that judgmental thought was, so that you can start to reframe those things for yourself and hopefully take down the barriers for your own success. And finally, the final one for today, in this part one of these tips from The Mountain is You, is guilt of success. So I actually am going to follow up with another video just on guilt. It's a faith-based video, so you can watch that if you want to as well. It's going to come out on Wednesday. But this particular guilt of success, we can unknowingly feel guilty from achieving the goals that we've set out for ourselves because of where others are not, right? So this is like the opposite of judging those who are successful. Now you're judging yourself against the people who have not achieved what you achieved, right? Or you're feeling guilty for being fortunate. You're feeling guilty for having enough or having a lot or whatever the case is, right? And this could definitely be something that comes unconscious or subconscious, so that it creates resistance and you begin to self-sabotage so that you don't have that disparity any longer, right? And no, we don't want that. We don't want to be going backwards just because, people who we may like or love or have in our circles are not where we want to be, right? So remember here that success and resources are tools that you can use to help others and help yourself, right? Tools that you can use to change not only your circumstances, but circumstances of others, to give back, to be a philanthropist, to do all types of things. So being guilty of success or feeling the guilt of success, you want to sort of combat that with thinking about all the good that you can then do once you have fully developed, fully walked into your successful place. So in part 2 of this video, we're going to get into some more things that you can do to sort of take down the barriers to reaching the goals that you want to reach, right? To dealing with fears and other unhealthy habits and behaviors that might be holding us back. Understand that this overcoming self-sabotage, overcoming our resistances is a lifelong journey. It's never going to be one and done. But like I always like to say, it's great to have awareness of the things that come up for us, because now that you'll see it and identify it and say, oh, I see that that's a thing that I'm doing and I can choose not to do it. Sometimes we feel out of control, like we are not in control. This is just the way we are. But if it's something that you don't like or something that you feel like is holding you back from where you want to go, then you are in control, right? You can control it. We just have to know that it's happening first. If this was helpful for you, please leave me a comment. Please like, subscribe, share it to somebody who needs to share it. So if you want more tips on this topic as a whole, you could pick up the book, The Mountain Is You. Again, I am going to do a part 2 next week because there is so much more in this book that I found helpful and I want to share it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.